now, um, biologically, our bodies are definitely different. Socially, we're basically the same. Now, I understand what you were saying. I completely agree with all of that. When you put it like that, I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. But I think a lot of women are asking just for equity, not necessarily equality. Like, we don't necessarily want to be equal to you, but we definitely want the environment to be equitable. We want to be able to have the same opportunities to just function the way we function. Um,
Can you
I'm
give me
much
an
different.
example, just so I know I'm on the same page with you? Can you give me an example?
So I'm much different than the average woman. The average woman does not own a garage full of power tools. The average woman just doesn't do, like, I like getting dirty and doing what I do. Um, and I know
Uh,
that I
the
can't
average
do the
lonely woman
same.
does.
Say what?
The average lonely woman has a garage full of power tools. Trust me.
No, they don't. No,
Oh
they don't,
shit!
They
Doc.
do.
Can I get
No.
down?
They have enough time on their hands. So it's either they have tools, they're going out to brunch with their girlfriends, or they have a bunch of dogs. That's what the average single woman does have. A bunch of time to go for brunch with girlfriends, 3 or 5 puppies with 3 or 5 cats, and if she doesn't have kids, and maybe tools to do whatever she does, DIY uh, on YouTube.
They don't.
That's that shit they sell.
No, they don't, because my friends call me to do all of their work. They do not do that. The average woman does not have a garage full. The average single woman does not have a garage full of power tools. They have a Rolodex full of people that they can call to do the work that they need
Mm-hmm.
done.
Hmm.
I'm just
And
messing with
they pay those people for sure. But and I know that I am not able to do the things the way a man can do it because we
Hmm.
are different. But the opportunity to show up and have the opportunity to do the things that I do want to do and like to do and I am able to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like in my relationship, I don't want to be looked at differently as if I'm masculine just because I'm building a greenhouse in my backyard. A lot of men are put off by that, right? Like, I want to be seen just as a person who has a lot of talents. Like,
Okay.
I'm talented, right? And so I don't want to be looked at differently because of that, because a lot of men have a very rigid view of what a woman is supposed to be. So when I take out my power tools and I'm taking raw materials and I make it something, I don't want a man to be like, I don't want a woman to do all that. There's real manly right there. And I'm like,
Hmm.
but I got I got booty shorts and a sports bra. And I'm cute doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Hmm.
very feminine. I just do what I do.
Ma'am, you think being feminine is just putting on a sports bra and a pair of shorts? How are you talking to him? You know, if you're yelling and being loud and ratchet and ghetto, that's not feminine. They think just by putting on booty shorts and a tank top showing the cleavage is being feminine. We are cooked.
And I think we're just asking for equity and just to be seen as people, just like y'all like to be seen as people and not these dainty, feminine, like helpless creatures.
All right.
She's lying. Women every single day are asking for equality. We are equal. We are equal this. We're equal to men. We can do everything a man can do. All these things. They scream equality to the top of their lungs. The only equality they never want to do is paying bills. They want equality in everything else. But when that check comes on a date, oh, a real man, now they know what a real man is. They can say what a real man can do, but they can never say what a real woman does. She is lying. They want equality for sure. Because equity comes with some work. You gotta work for it. Nothing is for free. You know what I mean?
All right. Thank you for that. I have 2 or 3 points I think that could be very helpful with this. Number one, you and Jasmine, are y'all outside of you two being equal in terms of being human beings, like in terms of value. Are you two equal? No, right? So if you're not equal with another woman, you're
Damn.
not equal with another man. And I'm not equal with Darwin outside of the fact that our equality starts and stops, believe it or not, with our humanity. All other distinctions, our gender, our age, our experience, our skill set, there's reasons for why uh, one person will get the job, another person will get the job. In 2025, there is nothing that you can't do in terms of employment, right? Even in terms of intense fields, physical labor fields, they'll lower the standards now for women so that they can't do it. So if you want to be a firefighter, you don't have to have the same standard that a male firefighter has to do. If you want to be in the military, your mile won't be the mile of your male counterpart. You want to be a police officer, you name it. Field after field after field, by default, because you're in America, as a woman, you can already go and do that. The
The
issue
AI.
for all women, and I'll say this specifically to Black women, is yes, you're right. You probably had experiences where there were some men that were turned off because you had a certain type of job. A lot of men, I can't speak for your personal experience, but a lot of men are not actually turned off by the job or even the type of job. They're turned off by the traits
The attitude.
that
Yep.
are often associated with those women.
Mm.
The behavioral traits
Explain.
that sometimes comes with women that has very demanding schedules, demanding jobs, demanding fields, is that they're highly disagreeable, that they are a little rough around the edges. They assume because I look good that I'm still feminine. Because
Yeah, that's why she was mentioning the booty shorts. Because oh wait, I'm feminine because I got on booty shorts and I'm showing my cleavage. It's like no, the attitude. Most men have the issue with the attitude. And to the point now, women are saying, I was born with this bad attitude. You should accept my bad attitude. And men are saying no. Men are saying no. And when a man says no, what do they call you guys? Can someone put it in the comments before I say it? They will say you are gay. You are sassy. Just because you're saying, I'm not going to tolerate your bad attitude. It's crazy.
I get my nails done, I'm still feminine. Because my hair and I got my makeup on, I still let a man lead. Well, I always look at it through the lens, does your outcomes reflect the thing that you're saying that you're doing? So an example of what I'm basically saying is when I talk to women who are struggling in the dating market and they're saying, "Oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that," but I'm saying, but if all the men, your outcomes would typically be different. If I'll say it this way, because you kind of mentioned something in terms of you want to be perceived a certain way from men, right? You want them to still see you as soft, as still feminine, or yeah, in essence, right? And that you don't want what you do to impact how people see you. If we flip it, and this is where I think both sexes can get a better understanding of this stuff. When you all question what it is about men being turned on and turned off about stuff, what's your icks? What's your things that makes it known? I can't do this guy. I absolutely can't take him seriously. I'm not going to return his phone call. That's not my type. Whatever that list of things is that attracts you or turns you away, we have our own version of that. And again,
Yeah, but they don't care what men want. My brother, the issue is they don't care what men want. Even when we have these conversations on YouTube and things like that, they still don't care. It's more about me, 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 me. A man should do this, a man should do that. And as soon as a man says one, two, three things he wants, they call him sassy. They call him all sorts of names. So until they can care about what men want, that's the only way they will learn. Until they stop saying, oh, my standards, men are doing the bare minimum, but they can't list what they can do for a man. Until that time, it's going to be the same cycle.
no one has to teach us that.
Well, so, but my point is
Mhm.
that there is a very rigid view of what a woman is. And so I get icks. I promise I do. I'm
Mhm.
not, again, I don't invalidate experiences. It's
Okay.
cool. Like how you feel, how you experience things. I'm never going to invalidate that. but there is a very rigid view. Like you have to meet these certain points to be this feminine woman to men. And for me, and
Mhm,
the other women can agree or disagree,
mhm,
but for me, the ick normally is that rigidity and all of the things that come with it. The the rigid masculinity, the rigid like gender roles.
Why is it rigid?
I don't like, because it never, like, it can never be anything else but what you all see it as, right?
Yeah, but you have rigidity for men. Y'all don't want average men, because average man means he's not broke and he isn't rich either. He's in the middle. That would mean you're not so rigid, but y'all don't want average men. You want men who are extremely tall. You don't want guys who are short. You don't want guys who are in the middle. You want guys who are completely tall. That's rigidity, right? You don't want a guy who's going to take you to a coffee date. You want him expensive date. That's rigidity. So y'all have standards that are rigid for men. Even when it comes to masculinity or a man being a leader, you don't want him to just be a leader on Monday to Wednesday. No, you want him to be a leader all the way through. And the moment he's not a leader, or what you consider a leader is, when it comes to providing and buying you flowers and calling you every day, when he doesn't do those things, those rigid things, you don't want him. But once men say, I want a woman who's feminine all the time, you call it controlling. So, ma'am, let's be honest. You guys have rigid standards for men as well.
Like, you're
mhm.
not allowing people to just be people. Like, women are not these bullet point things. You cannot list what a feminine woman is because it looks different.
We live
And
in a
it should
society.
look different, just like men in their masculinity can
Mhm.
look different.
We
Bo, I
allow
have a
you to
question.
see.
Sorry, Darn. Bo, I have a question for you, and I hope that this question will illustrate the direction I'm going in.
Okay.
Who do you think has more prerequisites or standards in order for them to be satisfied and interested in order to date the opposite sex?
She's gonna lie. Look at her lying. Look at her lying.
Who got the higher? Who has the much longer list of
That's an easy
expectations
question.
that the opposite sex has to meet
She's gonna lie. Look at her me thinking about
in
it.
terms of requirements?
Okay. If we're talking about in society,
Damn,
then I guess it has to be women.
you
Okay,
It
guess.
has to be.
so
That's an easy answer.
of the
Let's say
few
something
things,
real
so
fast.
hold on, just 1 second, 1 second. So just to clarify, there's actually very few things that men are actually looking for and to satisfy. And I think our standards have had to go down every decade in order for us to be able to still find a suitable partner.
Not mine.
So what
Uh,
I'm suggesting is rather than trying to demonize women with their lengthy list of prerequisites. So for instance, if you don't want to if you feel like you don't want men to be so rigid with their viewpoints, I'm not going to shame women that want a man that's taller than them. I'm never going to shame women that want a man that's not weaker than them. I'm never going to shame I'm never going to shame women that don't want to be with men that they don't feel safe with and that he feel like that he can't protect them. So rather than being like, well, you just need to change that. No, that's what you you can't go through 10,000 years of evolutionary psychology, or sorry, evolutionary biology, and know that who you are and how you've been shaped to be, there's actually certain natural inclinations of what you no one has to no one had to teach you that you may have felt safer with a man that you weren't looking down on.
Mm.
That's just a hardwired in you. So remember when I mentioned about that blank slate theory thing? A blank slate theorist will have issues with the opposite sex's stances of what they're attracted to that they feel they're not measuring up to.
Facts. Most men have learned the truth is most women want providers. That is the truth, guys. Now, I know some women want millionaires and they think if a man doesn't own his own company, he's not a provider and things like that. If a man is not willing to take her to a $1,000 dinner date, he's not a provider. I get it. Those are ridiculous. But guys, if we're going to be honest, we know most women, in fact probably 100% of women, if they had a choice, they would pick up a guy who's going to provide over a man who's not going to provide. That is the truth. Men deal with that statistic. They know the truth of that matter, right? But the issue is the things men really want, women don't acknowledge. They instead call men sassy. So I think that's what he's trying to explain.
So when you hear these men that's going off and complaining about women this and women that, evolutionary biology is learning about, in order for you to not be a genetic dead end as a man, you have to adapt to what women want. You don't get to dictate what it is that women are attracted to or what they want. What they want is what they want, and they're not going to settle. So if we're going to hold women to that standard, then we have to hold men to especially men who have the choice and option as well. The man that you want has standards just like you do. And just like many of the key core things that you either like or don't like, or turn ons and turn offs, you get to arbitrarily decide which one of those you want to honor or set aside. So too does he. Now, for you, a guy may look at you and initially think a certain thing. Oh, she's going to be rough around the edges. She's doing all this hard manual labor. But what happens to the guy who has that image in his head and then he talks to you and he gets the total opposite experience? Suddenly your job and field and craft of what you do for a living doesn't matter to him anymore, because experientially, that whatever's happening outside that home, when you walk through that door, he doesn't feel it. Guys don't care. Guys ain't, when women are like, if I went to school or I made all of this money, I didn't go to school to make 80,000, 100,000, 125,000 to date a guy that's making 40. We're never going to shame her into
Yeah,
accepting a guy that's making $40,000.
because we
It's
know it's
not
true.
going to happen.
Yeah.
She put herself in a position that that's what it is that she desires. And either she's the type of woman that can garner and get that type of man, or she
Oh,
doesn't.
no. That's true. Just because she makes $1 million, it's not guaranteed that she's gonna get a man who makes $1 million or more. I think that's where women fail to understand and realize that the numbers don't add up. They believe if I make this amount of money, I deserve. I'm going to get, like, it has to happen. No, that's not how it happens. Because even the guy who makes $1 million or more, he has certain requirements. But like I said, they never care what a man's requirements are. They just believe men should just accept them for just looking good.
If he's the type of man that's saying, I want a woman that's feminine, soft, respects my leadership, displays submissiveness at times, and works well with me and is on my program, are you the type of guy that can get that out of women, regardless of what she does for a living? Every guy doesn't qualify for the type of woman that he wants. And guess what? Every single woman doesn't qualify for the type of man that she thinks she wants.
Right.
And men know this. Like, you're never gonna hear Boogie talking about IG bodies and IG models. Like, when? I mean, I may admire them from afar, but you're never gonna hear me say I want a Beyonce. Nigga, I don't have $1 million. So you you know what I mean? Like, men can accept, like, you know what? She's a body. She's not my style. She's probably gonna want me to fly her to Dubai. I don't have that kind of money. Like, I'm not gonna be able to pull that. Like, I drive my old Toyota Camry. Like, I'm not ever gonna be able to pull it off. Like, men, we understand what we qualify for, but all the women believe they deserve Chris Brown. All the women believe they deserve Usher. Just by seeing on them TV, they believe they deserve that kind of man. And it's even worse. You know what even makes it worse? If one of those women ever dated a man of that caliber, or a millionaire, or a man who spends money on them, now they're going to live the rest of their lives believing they deserve that kind of man.
We have to learn how to adjust to the sex we're saying we want. What we're doing as in dating, communication. This is a great, to me, I think this is a really cool analogy. Imagine going to for a job interview. You get there, you sit down, you're late, you in your pajamas, and you slide over your resume, and it's a whole bunch of irrelevant stuff that has nothing to do with the job position that you want. And as the person's trying to ask you questions, you're talking about how much you want to make and what your hours is going to be, and they're saying, well, this is what our salary is, and this is the prerequisites of what we're looking for in experience, and this is what we'd be willing to pay you, and this will be the schedule. and you say, yeah, I don't like any of this. I want way more money. You say in 5 days, I'll do 2 days. One of those days is going to be virtual. You just making up your own rules. What's the likelihood of you filling that job position? Are you getting picked? Less than slim to none. Men have each man, if there's different types of men, there's usually general attraction triggers of what most men want. And the men that are of demand, their standards are even higher.
Mm.
So, I'll give you an example on my end. When I was younger and I was chasing after and thirsty and trying to, shoot my shot, and I'm sending flowers and doing all this stuff. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. I said, man, this is a hell of a lot of effort. By the time I got to 30, things were a little bit different. And when I was on a dating app, I was a BLK Black. I had flew to Atlanta for 2-hour layover, and then I flew to Chicago and landed. When I flew to Atlanta, 2 hours, turned my phone on real quick, turned it back off, didn't check the app, got to Chicago. The 2 hours I was in Atlanta to the half hours I was in Chicago till I got in my cousin's car when she picked me up from the airport, it was 72 to 74 women that had matched with me or initiated contact with me after 2 hours in 2 different cities.
That's
You
a
don't
lot.
get to dictate anything to me. The other 69 women I can choose. That's the dating market. So if there's nothing else I'm going to say tonight that's going to be helpful, if we understand the opposite sex better, we'll move different. In the global dating market, we ain't worried about America. In the global dating market, in terms of desirability, it's white men at the top. It's black men number 2. It's Hispanic men number 3 and Asian men number 4. In terms of desirability, in terms of all the data and stats that they're collecting, in terms of marriages, in terms of sex, access to sex, and the dating app data.
Black men swear nobody else wants black women swear nobody else wants black men. Black women swear they're the only ones who want black men, and they swear they're the best option for black men. In fact, if a black man chooses a white woman and he says, I chose this white woman because she's gonna give me peace, black women are like, no, that's wrong. Come deal with me with my bad attitude. They swear they're the best thing to black men.
Black men are second. Asian men are last. Asian women don't want Asian men in math. On the flip side, depending on the depending on the data, number 1 is either Asian women or white women, depending on the study. And then number 3 is Hispanic women. And then last is black women.
You just crucified yourself.
It's not crucified, and I'll tell you why.
They don't like that.
The reason why I'm saying it in that
Look at her
way
face.
and breaking it down in that way is a lot of this animosity that we're having with each other, black men and black women in this country. Africans don't see us as a part of their tribe. Jamaicans don't see us as a part of their tribe. There are no other groups that do. So if globally
we should be one tribe,
you are the least desired, and even the other black people, even if the other black people come here, they will look at you different, and they'll still treat you a little bit different, and it takes you a while to kind of warm up, and they'll be honest and say, when I first came here, my parents said not to deal with the Black Americans. I've heard that they have told me this. Who else are you going to listen to in terms of whatever it is that's causing you to be at the bottom of the totem pole of desirability than a black man looking you in your face and saying, this is what I need to feel loved?
They swear white men want them. They swear every single day that white men want them and other men want them. The only issue is those white men also have standards. Like, they would talk crazy to a black man, but they would never talk crazy to a white man. They believe the black man should deal with their ratchet, loud, ghetto, snap fingers, snatch souls, and BS like that. But white men have standards too. You know what I mean? Like, those other men need to approach them. But this brother was cooking. You guys told me to review it. I had to go through it. What do you guys think? Shout out to Lapif. Link down below to the full video.